Thank you to Affirmation for inviting me to participate in this year's Christmas devotional. I'm David. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm gay, and I live in Florida, and you should be jealous because the weather is pretty nice this time of year. Growing up, one of my family's Christmas traditions was reading the Nativity Story from Luke chapter 2. Because I associated this story with family and church, it took me a long time to realize just how truly queer this story is. Mary is betrothed to a man who's probably many years older than her. In the gay community, I meet couples who have big age gaps between them. Mary doesn't need Joseph or any other mortal man to get pregnant. I think about lesbian couples who use artificial insemination to get the job done. Biblically speaking, Jesus had two dads. Mary and Joseph live in a country where the government is less than welcoming of their baby. She and Joseph become refugees and seek safety elsewhere. But Mary promised that one day her son would reign over the children of Israel, and that they would pull down the mighty and lift up the lowly, and that God will feed the hungry and send the rich away empty. She is a firebrand. I wouldn't be surprised if she sang revolutionary songs as lullabies to her babies. How many queer people have had their government fight them for basic human rights guaranteed to other citizens? We have fought long campaigns to overturn government and societal hostility towards us, and that struggle still continues. Mary gives birth among the animals because there was no room for her family. Far too often, LGBTQ plus individuals aren't welcome. We find there's no room for us. History shows that those who keep others out were on the wrong side. Those who say there's no room for you, you're not wanted, the future looks back and shakes its head, doesn't think kindly of those people. In many ways, the Nativity Story contains important messages for queer people. One feature of the Nativity Story is angels. Angels appear often. An angel appears to Zacharias, the father of John the Baptist. An angel appears to Mary. An angel appears to Joseph. An angel appears to shepherds out in the fields tending sheep. Each time the angel begins with, "Be not afraid." Actually, fear not is a recurring command in the scriptures. God is not a God of fear. God conquers fear. In the Nativity Story, each time the angel appears and says, "Be not afraid," it's followed by good news. Be not afraid, Zacharias, you're going to be a dad. Be not afraid, Mary, you'll have a child who will save the children of Israel. Joseph, fear not to wed Mary. Her son will save people. I think this is true in our lives. Once we stop being afraid that others might find out we're queer, or stop being fearful of what being queer might mean for us, or what other people will think if they learn we have a queer child, then we're open to receiving good news. The angel speaking to the shepherds said, "Don't be afraid. I've got joyful news. The person who's going to save you has been born. He is the chosen one. Go over to the nearby village and you'll find him laying in a manger." And then suddenly there were many angels, and they were saying, "Glory to God up above, and on earth peace to people of good will." I've thought about angels and what they mean for queer people. In the scriptures, angels do several things, including making announcements, taking care of and feeding people, strengthening someone's courage and resolve, acting as guardians and protectors. They teach and enlighten. Don't we do this for each other? Queer people and family, friends, and allies, we do this. We don't have concourses of angels showing up in our lives. We become angels to each other. There's the mom who wears a rainbow pin to church, sending the message, "Don't be afraid, I'm safe, come talk to me." There's the queer adult who tells someone who's working on coming out that, "I know this is hard to go through, but I promise life gets better." I grew up in the 1980s and 1990s, where mostly the things I heard about gay people is that they get AIDS, and the other thing I learned is a lot of lesbians took care of a lot of sick gay men. They were angels caring and ministering and feeding when others wouldn't. It reminds me of the lesson taught in the Book of Mormon, that what you do to the least of people, it's like you've done it to God. This is what the gospel is about, looking out for and loving others. As we create safe spaces, as we start queer family home evening groups, as we participate in affirmation conferences and activities, as we go to pride parades, as we challenge the transphobic words spoken by somebody, as we work to make the laws better, as we donate to queer organizations that feed and shelter queer people or offer mental health services, as we share our stories on podcasts to help others understand, as we fly the rainbow and trans pride flags for others to see, when we write a letter to the newspaper that gets printed, when we create pride playlists on Spotify or Pandora that others find, as we text through the night with someone who is suicidal, we are acting as angels in each other's life. Those are ways of showing our goodwill, and those kinds of actions create peace, just as the angels declared. That concludes my thoughts. Merry Christmas to you. Peace on earth to people of goodwill, and keep on being each other's angels.